We're here. Bound for Glory 2021. Now, this is being done the next day. I did watch it. There were a couple of times where there was some problems with my stream. So, one of the better reasons why I did see this the next day, not only to process what happened, was to be able to see the parts that I could not see because I lost the stream. Like what happened with Mickie James and Perazzo. I didn't see who finished that match. I didn't know who won. So I did finally get a chance to see that, and now I can do my review. But I gotta say this. I know there's gonna be people who are gonna say that this was the greatest show they've ever seen from Impact Wrestling. It was so damn good, it was awesome. An uncertain future. That is the perfect name for this title of this review because of what they did. Look, guys, you can say whatever the hell you want about Bound for Glory saying it was an awesome show. But having an awesome show does not mean it can't be an uncertain show or a very dumb booking of a show. Now, I'm not saying it's dumb booking. I say that it is uncertain because they went and did something you wouldn't expect them to do. They went and did something that is, in many cases, never benefited a promotion. In many cases, others it has. This is uncertain right now, and I will give you my explanation of it by the end of this review if I haven't been dumb enough to forget it. Okay, before Impact got started with Bound for Glory, we got two things to happen on the pre-show. The first one is the Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, if you saw my predictions, there were two things I thought would happen. The one I wanted to happen, and the one I knew that would happen. And that would be a Awesome Kong coming out and just saying her feelings, her piece, and then be honored. The other one was Awesome Kong does not come out really well, heavily dressed. Someone tries to mess with her, and she proceeds to whoop the ass of that person, and then she had that gift afterward. I knew it wasn't going to happen. That's what I wanted. Here, Gail Kim basically talked about how special Awesome Kong was. I gotta say this. I kind of wish when she spoke on not here in the induction ceremony, on what was by her talking the way she was previously, I kind of wish she had saved it here because it felt like a total repeat. I wanted something special, and she generally didn't say that much more than what she said before when they did the announcement for Awesome Kong and using Gail Kim to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that she didn't talk with love and admiration and respect about Awesome Kong. It's just that I kind of wish they saved this and not let her talk because she took too long the first time and said a lot more that could have been put here and make it feel so damn special. Now, the fans loved it. Not take anything away from it. It's just me as someone who has to critique this type of thing. And I kind of wish she had saved it here. She didn't need to go that far. But that just shows the type of character Gail Kim is. She is the type of person that shows her true feelings. Once Awesome Kong came out. Sorry, got sore throat again. Not allergies now, this is just plain sore throat. I gotta say this. She didn't really say much more than what she did when she came out the first time. You guys know when she came out. It was still a beautiful thing. She was dressed very well. She looked beautiful. And like with Gail Kim, I kind of wish she didn't have that time before. She could have just came out the first time and just said, or not come out at all. Well, I kind of wish she hadn't come out at all. And they just did the announcement and not let her come out the first time. Weeks upon weeks ago. That's just me. It would have been more special here, Bound for Glory. Because she had a lot of time to talk the last time. I just wish she hadn't. The ending saying clearly not for a man, for a woman. That I am so glad she did. Even though Gail Kim talked about, during that same speech, how women's wrestling was not very good. And how she basically said Scott and Dutch Mantel gave them that moment to shine. And also Kong did too. I'm not upset about that. She also talked about Shimmer, which is still going, and she honored them by saying this at Bound for Glory, which was great as well. Nothing wrong with spotlighting the people that got you where you are and spotlighting how women's wrestling has been promoted. Nothing wrong with it. If she had basically said, we are the only reason women's wrestling got anywhere and not credited other women or men, it takes both to make something special. Guys, it does. And let's look at a woman who began it 100% like a Thunder Rosa. From scratch, never had a man there. You need both sexes to make it work because you got to convince both sexes to make it mean something. It's not about just saying women's wrestling's always been great and it's better than men. It counts on both men and women making it mean something. True equality is not about just showing that a woman can make anything that a man can. True equality is making sure that both sexes work together to make it mean something. Equality means that the other side must want it too. There you go. Now, we had the Digital Media Championship. Now, there was one change in it. Instead of Tennille Dashwood, there was no Tennille Dashwood. It was Madison Rayne. And I was going, wait a minute, what happened to Tennille Dashwood? Was she hurt? Could she be hurt? Maybe. And it was pretty much Madison Rayne there. And I thought, what's going to happen now? Because it doesn't feel right that she's there when if Tennille, like I predicted, would probably win because of the inspiration and pretty much I got a lot to say when it comes to that match that's next, when it came to inspiration and decay. But I thought maybe it would be good for her, and she wasn't there. If Tennille won it, it would make sense because she would work with the inspiration. I didn't know who was going to win after that. I didn't know who was the best person to win because they really haven't spotlighted anyone seriously. I mean, they spotlighted Jordynne Grace on and off with Rachel Ellering. They spotlighted a Chelsea Green, but she is not the hot mess because she still acts like normal Chelsea Green with Matt Cardona. I didn't know who would be the best person to deal with this. I didn't think it was going to be Steve. I thought maybe it might have been John Schuyler, but it was Jordynne Grace who won. It was Jordynne Grace. I was very surprised they decided to choose her. But then it makes you think, is this Digital Media Championship going to mean anything? Are both sexes going to go after it from now on? Because this was a mixed six-person fatal six-way. That's what this was. This was a six-way fatal match. And everyone was trying to get that title. I knew Fall Out was going to get it. It would have been a great feel-good moment, but Fall has never been promoted, spotlighted, or pushed. Not recently. So Jordynne Grace as the only one who gets it makes a lot of sense, but then it doesn't make a lot of sense because, yes, she has been pushed to a certain extent, dealing with Jazz, dealing with Rachel Ellering, dealing with Deanna Perazzo, dealing with, well, she broke a lot of records doing powerlifting. Now, that's why I think the accolade that she did gave her this right to have the first reign as a Digital Media Champion. But the question is going to be, and that's also uncertain, how are they going to promote the Digital Media Championship? Will it be on Impact Plus only? Will it be on the regular show Impact? Will it mean anything when it's being promoted? Because it could end up 100% like the Grand Championship and the Grand Championship tournaments. Remember how it used to be with the Impact Grand Championship? We thought it meant something, and then it meant nothing. This is going to be a big thing. It will be uncertain. Let's move on. I am so glad this match started the show because it was bad. I'm sorry, guys. If you truly believe the inspiration was good here, you got another thing coming. If you really believe that the decay looked good here, you got another thing coming because this was a freaking mess. Decay versus the inspiration. Now, they had someone singing. I forgot to check her name. But here she is in my face. She sung very well. Nothing taken away from her. She looked beautiful. She sang well. Once Cassie and Jessie came out, they looked great. Yeah, they kind of look like puke a little bit because of their clothing. But they can always change it up. No problem with that. No problem with someone's attire the first time they can come in. Yes, if it doesn't look good, they can make a bad impression. But it didn't look bad because the fans yelled for them, screamed for them, cheered for them once they got into the ring after they did their little bit of twerking. Well, not twerking, but shaking their asses, shaking their titties, and doing what they need to do to look sexy, alluring, and beautiful until, for me personally, I don't know about you, until they spoke and they didn't feel any different. And the kicker for me, and it was not about the line of promo they used. They said, we are here to inspire you. That's fine. They did feel pretty much the same to a point. And it's understandable. They haven't been in front of crowds for months. What got me to realize they are the same was when they said, we are inspiration. That is when I realized they did not think this through. That is when I realized they're doing the same fucking stick. Same stick. To do the pose was stupid because they were recognized as the iconic with those poses in NXT and WWE. If they had not done the pose, come up with something completely different, they would have had their moment to shine. There was stupid. There was showing, and I remember when Jessie talked to Chris Van Vliet that me and Cassie sat down and really thought about what we needed to do to really be different, to inspire ourselves to be something new, to grow. They didn't. That one moment of doing the stupid ass pose as the Iconics showed they didn't think about this. And they thought, well, it was never broken. Let's continue it. Wrong. They could have waited a while before doing the stupid Iconic thing. They went straight into it. And that is when I knew they didn't do anything smart. Because once we got into the match, the very same thing that usually happened in WWE, not like NXT, because they did work differently to a certain extent. Cassie was a better wrestler, and Jessie looked awkward way more than normal. She looked like, at first, she had not been training, not been practicing, and guess what happened? Guess what happened? And I'm sure there's, I think, one of my subscribers who really loves the Iconics. Guess what, dude? Nope. They sucked. You know why? And I'm not saying the entire match sucked with them, but they sucked at first. And I know some people can say, well, what about ring rust? Of course, I am taking that into account. And going forward, it's going to take them weeks upon weeks. Well, not weeks upon weeks, because they're going to be doing a whole bunch of tapings back to back to back within a few days to a week to be done. It will take them weeks to months to get straightened out. But as it stands now, with the tapings, they're going to look like shit. Because when you look at them, Cassie looked better than Jessie. Jessie looked awkward in the ring to the point where either Rosemary or Havoc literally couldn't work with her because she was so klutzy. They started stepping on their feet. Her, particularly Jessie. Literally, Jessie was getting her hands stomped, or her feet were being stomped on, not because they're trying to hurt them. It's because she was so sloppy and awkward, they kept stepping on their hand. Well, on Jessie's hand. Cass, yes, they also stepped on her hands, or stepped on their feet, or stumbled over them. It was so bad, the stumbling, particularly with Jessie. Jessie was being stumbled, literally, when she was supposed to be grabbed. She didn't act like someone who knew how to brace themselves during a damn match. So, guess what? Rosemary literally was tripping because of Jessie. And a couple of times with Cassie. Yes, Cassie did get a little bit of tripping. But Jessie was bad. It was bad to the point where literally Havoc fell all over her. That was bad. That was ugly. Now, that happened in the very beginning to the middle of that damn match. Near the end, it was a little better, particularly from Cassie. Jessie didn't look any different. She did a couple of good, she tried clotheslines, which was somewhat good. She really did try, but she looked really sloppy. I don't know if she practiced. To be honest, by having people trip over you because you couldn't brace yourself while they're knocking you down shows you didn't practice. It's understandable about ring rust for both of them. Cassie has a little bit of ring rust even though she may have trained with her husband, Shawn Spears. But ring rust is still a factor. But there, ring rust was not that huge of a factor when it came to Jessie. Jessie looked bad. And in the end, the Iconics won. AKA the Inspiration. And then there was no Tenille Dashwood. Since she did not show up at the Digital Media Championship, either she's hurt or they're saving her for the story that she's going to be doing. I'm just saying. Let's move on. The X Division. Steve Macklin versus Trey versus Elf Phantasmo. A damn good match. At one point, Elf Phantasmo was, I don't have the shot. He was on the top ring rope, doing a little bit of old school like The Undertaker. He's got Macklin in his hand, like this, holding him over his head, Macklin. Trey's ready to kick his ass off the rope. And what did he do? He jumps up right when Trey's supposed to clothesline him, jumps right over his hand and his head, lands back on the rope, then does his moves, and then flips Macklin. I am not going to lie, that was very nice. It made me think of Rey Fenix. Now, mind you, Rey Fenix and him are lucha wrestlers. Technicals. I believe that's what they're called. That was good Lucha Libre wrestling. There's no lie about that. But the one important thing that had to happen did happen. Trey won. As I predicted, like the Inspiration. I knew Trey had to win. It was his time. They had been dragging it out for nearly 2 years since he came back to Impact Wrestling. Nearly 2 years he'd been back. He needed to win. It was time. If they didn't pull the trigger on him now, they were never going to do it. And he is now the new X Division champion, which he should be. He earned it. He worked hard after leaving the Rascals. He has become a champion. Now the question will be, how will they book him from going forward? Will he always have fresh meat to deal with? That's going to be the question. Or are they going to keep using the same old people over and over again and not bring anybody independent in during these tapings to let him chew through them to make him feel dominant? We'll find out. Violence by Design versus Heath. Now, I said there were two possible outcomes here. One, I kind of hoped that would go, but the other one, I knew they were going to go. The one I hoped for was that during the match, Heath would be on his own. Eventually, Rhino would come in. Rhino would come in to join Heath. And instead of going after Violence by Design, he nails Heath. Then he nails Violence by Design. And then he walks away. But before he goes, he said, I am for no one. I am the man beast myself. I don't need none of you. That would have been different. That would have been something where both sides are still trying to get him, and he bulldozes them both. Because at that point, it would show that the true beast of Impact Wrestling isn't from Violence by Design. It isn't with Heath. It is the man beast himself, Rhino, who needs no one to inspire him, to control him, to empower him. That's what I was hoping for. But here, it was a standard match. You get the Heath getting his ass whooped multiple times until Rhino's music comes on, he walks out slowly to the ring, and then he tags in whoops some ass, and he gets the pin. The feel-good moment was when he gave the Heath the hug. And I think I got that shot. Not sure. And then afterward, the interview where he said, pretty much, I'm back. There's no one who ever gave up on me as much as you, Heath. Usually I get people who just, they come and go in this business, but you literally never gave up on me. You're it. And now they're back together. There you go. It was all right. It was a feel-good moment. I kind of wish that Rhino stayed by himself, not going to Heath, not going to Violence by Design. He is 100% by himself. That's what I kind of wish. I kind of wish it was like that, kind of the Rhino during the 2000s where WWE brought back the ECW title and Rhino went off on his own and said, fuck you, I am true ECW, I am the true ECW title holder, and I'll burn the damn thing to prove it. That's what I kind of wish for. A Rhino who wants to show that I am the true version of what's in front of you. That's what I was thinking of, but it didn't happen. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet. We had 20 people in it, men and women. Every near a minute or two, someone comes in. We got Saban, who opened. And then you got Morrissey, who closed as number 1 and number 20. You got Saban versus Rocky. What was the guy's name? I can't remember. Riaro? Can't remember. He opened. A lot of people recognize him from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Good. They brought in a New Japan guy. Then they brought in a guy named the Demon who looked like he was a relative of Demolition. That was interesting. Then you had all of the regular suspects. Dorrego Kid, Tasha Steelz, Sienna Evans. You had Johnny Swinger, who didn't last very long at all, who wanted the Demon's signature. You had Rachel, Rick Swan, and you got Ace and everybody else. But when it really came down to it, it was Moose versus Matt Cardona, who had been doing a lot of work in GCW, Game Changer Wrestling. Now, I know there have been 1 or 2 people who asked me, would you watch Game Changing Wrestling? I really haven't had much time. Honestly, I've been busy, so I haven't had really any time to really check it out, or any other promotions for that matter. I've tried, but every time I'm about to, I got something else to do. So I don't know if Game Changer Wrestling is going to be good. Even though it has been building a lot of momentum, Nick Gage has been making it very interesting, counting if he doesn't get himself in trouble with the law again. But you get my point. It was a... seeing Morrissey win instead of Saban. I don't think sorry, if I said Moose, I'm sorry. I mean Morrissey, not Moose. It wasn't a bad thing to see Morrissey there, a big guy at the end, cool. But I admit, having Saban as the one to win would have been interesting. Or Cardona for that matter. But the point is with Cardona, they really haven't been booking him that well, even though he has been doing a lot of stuff in GCW. I thought Saban would have been the best chance, but they decided to go with Morrissey. No problem. It's okay. Wondering how they're going to book it. Now, let me see, am I forgetting anything? A couple of times how can I say this? A couple of times my stream dropped in between these matches, so I don't know if anything special happened other than the video packages that were done, which were done very well. Admittedly, when it came to D'Lo and to Matt Striker, they didn't really straighten out the audio because the audio from their mics was getting a little bit overwhelmed by the music. So they need to turn up the audio on those guys. They didn't. The audio was a bit low. They have ways of isolating music from voice, guys. They do. So you can't say that doesn't happen. I think they could have done it. Now, the tag team triple threat for the tag team championship. The Good Brothers versus Finjuice versus the Bullet Club, which was stupid. Stupid. But with these uncertain situations, I'm not too surprised they went there. Was it a bad match? No. It was fine. But I would have thought because they've been promoting Hikuleo, they've been promoting Elf Phantasmo, and they've been promoting Chris Bay, the finesser himself, the trendsetter of Impact Wrestling, you would have think they would hand them the titles and give them something, because Elf Phantasmo didn't get anywhere in the X division. You would think that this might actually be a good thing. No. Good Brothers retain. They retain. So and I want to make this very clear. If anyone's seen JD's video, before he did Dynamite, it was the day before, that same day, he said, and basically stating that the Impact AEW agreement looks like it's ending after Bound for Glory, or will end on Bound for Glory. It is very uncertain that it's going to continue, but he believed through what his sources said that they are finally breaking up, hopefully mutually friendly. He's hoping it's a friendly breakup and not one that's bitter. Seeing that you have the Good Brothers there, that's a good possibility, a possible possibility, that AEW is still working with Impact Wrestling. But we don't know. There's a possibility they're done now. But if they're not, this is still going on, and I truly believe the Bullet Club will lost a great opportunity because Jay White wasn't there to really promote them properly, giving them a title and then letting Chris Bay talk in the damn ring to do his job as the boss of it would have helped. They didn't get that. They're where they are, and that's it. The second best match of the night. Mickie James versus a Deonna Perazzo. I always say Dana because I like the name Dana. Deonna Perazzo. This is where I got a little pissed. Now, as I said in my predictions, if Mickie has a contract with NWA and Impact, she's going to win. There's no doubting it. But if it's just like a one-time thing, where she's only been building up going into Bound for Glory, and after that maybe she'll do maybe 1 or 2 more tapings and that's it, she's not going to win. She's not winning. Unless they're going to be stupid enough to do exactly what I just said, and that she's just being paid to come in, taping by taping basis, including Bound for Glory, and then maybe a couple of tapings after that, she damn drops the title, and then she's gone. That is freaking stupid. That's how Impact has been. So we may have that scenario, but if it's not, and she is contracted to work with Impact for a while, maybe till next year, she won. Now, I found this out now, today, before starting the stream, before doing this recording. Excuse me. Seeing that the stream dropped literally before the match ended pissed me off. Had to wait until I got it back, and that's when I saw the Josh Alexander and Christian match. So I didn't know who won. But knowing that she did win makes me think those two scenarios. Either she is contracted for a while, maybe until next year, or she's still doing taping by taping. Yes, they gave her the title, but then maybe within 3 or 4 weeks of her tapings, because remember, they do them in batches, within a few days, she drops it back to Deonna, and then she's gone. That will piss me off. I'm not going to lie. Seeing her there until next year will really help Impact. They need her. Guys, they needed her. They may have some women on the roster, but not enough to really do any work. Really. Even though when you looked at Awesome Kong, all those women there does not mean all of them are going to be spotlighted properly and shown all at the same time. So this is what you get. Finally, what you've been waiting for. Uncertain future. Josh Alexander versus Christian Cage for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Was this a good match? Yes. Did Christian do a damn good job? Yes. Did Josh do a good job? Yes. Was the fans invested more than any other match, yes, was Josh's son and wife in the arena. Yes. Who won? Josh won. And I should have realized once I heard Matt Striker get emotional that something was about to happen. I didn't realize that. I'm going, yeah, good. They pulled the trigger on Josh Alexander. They needed him because what is the point of having Christian there? It's not helping. They needed a homegrown guy. There you go, Josh Alexander. And I should have realized when I heard Matt Striker get so damn emotional, something was off. I should have realized it because they pulled a fucking Seth Rollins. Moose comes out while Josh has his wife and son, one of his sons, in the ring, brings tea, call your cup. It was Morrissey, not, sorry. I don't know why I said Morrissey when it was Moose. I'm thinking about Morrissey. What now? But Moose comes out with the cup. He demands a match now. And what happened? He spears his ass and he wins within 10 seconds. He's in my face. Are you fucking serious? Did they just pull a fucking WWE? Doing a Seth Rollins like at a WrestleMania? Yes, they did. If anyone says this is innovative booking, this is WWE booking. Sorry, guys. This is WWE fucking booking. Short-term gain. Shock value. They wanted to shock the system, as they used to say in NXT. They wanted to shock everyone, shock the damn system to make it mean something more than what it was. Kicker. That feel-good moment has been building for more than a year since Josh was on his own. Honestly, since the last Bound for Glory, once Josh and Ethan Page were not really wrestling much together, they had been slowly building Josh. They finally gave him the X-Division. He did get over that way. And now, through Bound for Glory and Option C, they had a chance to try something new. But they didn't do it. They refused to pull the trigger properly. Now Josh gets fucked with his son in his presence and his wife. Moose, who should have gotten that at Slammiversary, he doesn't get it. Moose should have got it even before that from Kenny Omega. Nope. When he was by himself against Kenny at Daily's Place, he should have won it then. No. When he was against I'm not against Rich, but it should have just been he holding the title for several months. No. They now pull the trigger on Moose now, who hasn't really been doing a huge amount anyway. He's been working with Morrissey. So now you are going forward in an uncertain future where the guy who has been built the best in a Josh Alexander just jobbed out within about a few seconds to a Moose who was built great last year, who was built really well in the beginning of this year, but then they didn't pull the damn trigger. And now they do at Bound for Glory. This is an uncertain future again for the simple reason going forward, as I said in my predictions, they got a lot to make up for here. This is a moment of truth for Impact Wrestling. They never gained, and I know, and this is where I do not agree with JD. And I respect him, even though he's a crazy ass New Yorker like myself. I do respect him, but I don't agree that Impact Wrestling gained as much from Kenny Omega as he thinks, because they haven't. When he first appeared in Impact, he made a big stir. But the problem was that stir did not translate in cross promotion, where people from Impact were supposed to go over to AEW and more people from AEW were supposed to go to Impact. it had been only one way. People from AEW were mainly going into Impact, and it didn't help because you got to get it. TNT needed to show more Impact stars to not only give them something different, but also show that Impact existed. Because if you got the already established guy in Kenny, and then the Good Brothers who are already known to be part of Kenny's clique, who cares about Impact Wrestling? They went like this with Kenny and a couple other people. That's it. They would have gone, and then this. Slightly. That's the way it's supposed to happen. And it didn't happen. No matter what anyone says that they brought in AEW stars, but Impact never got anywhere. Well, duh. Think about it for a damn minute. It didn't work because you weren't willing to bring them over to your show and state something about their show. Yes, it is another promotion on another network, but it doesn't fucking matter because it has nothing on it. No disrespect to Access TV. It's not American network. It's outside the country. And no one is saying that it's not a good network. But it's not an American fucking network. It is meaningless if Impact is trying to get more American market shares of pro wrestling. So now, what's going forward? Josh is going to have a proper gripe that he got screwed over, but then he wasn't. Moose now has the damn title legitimately within 10 seconds. You don't know what's going to happen with the Good Brothers. We don't know what's going on with Mickie James. We don't know if she's only doing booking by booking basis or does she have an actual temp contract with Impact Wrestling, which will last maybe until next year. We don't know. Will they actually book Trey Miguel properly? What is going to happen with the Digital Media Championship? Will they actually not do what they did with the Grand Championship and just promote a little bit and then drop the motherfucker? That is what we don't know. This is what you got going forward. And they better make it right, or this is going to end up right where they were before they even went through all this in 2019 into 2020. They thought they did something great with Tessa Blanchard, who beaten, one of my subscribers reminded me, Tessa Blanchard has beaten Brian Cage this and this 3 times in a row in indie shows. And maybe once she faced them in the ring and Impact, did lose, but still she got over. And what did they gain for her becoming champion and getting over? Her not wanting to work with them, having to basically strip her and fire her, and then trying to make up for that by not giving us very good feud stories going in 2020 to 21. Yes, they had their moments, but does not mean they did great booking. Now, I'll say this. The show was really good. There's no lie about that. But this is very worrying. If they're willing to do a short-term gain, scares me. Because sooner or later, they're going to do more of certain tactics the WWE is going to do in hopes of drumming up more people. This isn't like with the Hardy being the Broken Brilliance who really did move the needle for them. This is not the same type of booking. And I just don't know what 2022 is going to give them, because it could just be a quick jump. They go back to the same way they were with the same booking. And they're right back where they started, maybe a little bit lower. But this is just me. And I hope you enjoyed this Bound for Glory 2021. Please give me a comment below. And I'm sorry this is late in that day into the afternoon. Well, this is still morning, I'm sure, because I can't see the clock. I think it's like 10 something in the morning now. But I hope you enjoy this. Peace.